Scholars who are hostile to religion like to look to the medieval period because they refer to that period as the Dark Ages. And the contention is that those Dark Ages were dark because that was the time period in which the Christian church was at the height of its power. The idea was that medieval people were violent and ignorant and superstitious and constantly suffering from disease and war and whatnot. The problem with this claim, though, is that any bad thing that you can say about medieval Europe or the character of the people who lived during that time is that it was true of them before they were introduced to Christianity. Europeans were violent and superstitious before they were Christian. You look at the Vikings and other groups, there was human sacrifice, there was all kinds of superstition. And it's interesting to me because when you see any kind of fiction or drama portraying this time period, they often show the pagan people as being more enlightened and more wise than the Christians. This is true of a lot of recent shows I've seen about the Vikings. There's this kind of adulation of Viking culture. Well, the Vikings were very violent, very superstitious. So I think a lot of this is just anti-Christian bias. The truth of the matter was that Christianity was introduced to a culture that had not yet developed. The people, as I said, they were violent and superstitious, like any other people. I'm certainly not ripping on Europeans or engaging in this kind of anti-white rhetoric that's unfortunately too common these days, but they were introduced to Christianity and they got better. Their civilization got better. It improved. Now, some will say that was because of the Enlightenment or because of the Greco-Roman teachings that had been preserved. But I'd point out a couple things about that as well. First of all, the church preserved a lot of the great learning of the Greco-Roman cultures. And there would have been no Enlightenment without the church, because obviously then you had the Renaissance and the Reformation, and the Enlightenment was really a product of that as well. I think on measure, Christianity made civilization better.